Now Kurt Busch at the Blue Deuce in the middle. Let's see if he can make any forward progress. He's going to try to catch up to his younger brother Kyle, who is pushing Brian Vickers. You're riding with Kurt Busch. He's going to have company to his left. There's Jimmy Johnson.
I'm going to tell you what, we talked about Toyotas. There's a Toyota to the outside of Kurt Busch in his 2 car right now. It's Michael Waltrip in that 55 car. The gold and blue car there. Felt like he would run good here today. Nobody loves Daytona and Talladega probably better than Michael Waltrip.
He has an incredible feel for the restrictor plate racing. I think he went to school. He drove for Dale Earnhardt. I think he really went to the Earnhardt School of drafting. And man, does he know how to do it. Started
dead last, 43rd position. Of course, the field being set by points because of qualifying being washed out yesterday.
We said it in pre-race. Anybody can lead here. Elliott Sadler came from 27th to 5th in 1 lap and led the next one.
You know what he told me? He said, you know what? You can wreck anywhere here, and anybody can wreck here. So I might as well get to the front and take my chances. And that's a pretty familiar sight right there, pushing the Waltrip pushing an Earnhardt. We saw that way back early 2000s.
Yeah, instead of 88 and 55, just think of the 8 and the 15 when those 2 drivers were teammates at DEI. They may not lead this lap, though. Here comes Hamlin on the bottom, Junior on the top. Whoa, too close to call.
I think the fans pretty much told you who led that lap. It was that 88 car, just ever so. How about 7 1/1000ths of a second he led that lap by?
Remember what I said in the pre-race? A little practice. How long did it take me to get to that line and beat that other guy?
Hamlin moves up to the outside.
They're gone.
He's got help from Sam Hornish, but let's see if Junior and Michael can get away for a bit.
Now, Michael ran the Daytona 500, came here to race. Don't know what his plans are beyond this race.
No, I don't think he does either. But when you talk about pouring the coal to it, that's what Michael's doing right now.
He's pouring the coal. 14, smashing that gas right
now. And he wants to lead a lap.
At the top of the screen, Johnson and Logano have fallen all the way back to 23rd and 24th. That's just how quickly that draft can move you forward or move you back.
That's what I said about getting frustrated. You got a good car, you get out there, you think, oh, I got these guys. Wrong.
Look at the bottom, A.J. Allmendinger.
Here
the Dinger in the 43. He's got Kyle Busch, and they do the 2-car tango to the front.
I'm going to tell you what, that's the same car he had in the Daytona 500, and it was just as fast there in February. He drove from the back of the field and took the lead without the help of a lot of other cars.
This is like yo-yo racing. Now, I didn't say there were a bunch of yo-yos. I just said it's like yo-yo racing. Up and down, up and down.
32 laps complete this time by. And still 30-plus cars in that long, winding lead pack, led by 2-time Daytona 500 winner Michael Waltrip for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Denny Hamlin.
That glare coming out of Michael's car, the 55, that's in peace showing.
That's that ivory.
How about Paul Menard in that bright green car running fourth on the outside, and what a great season he's had. The last couple of races weren't too kind to him, but Menard got off to a great start in a breakout season, and he's been up near the front these whole 32 laps.
Finished second here a couple of years ago. He knows how to restrictor plate race. Another one of those guys you just don't expect to be that good on a restrictor plate track, but he is.
But just look at the 5th car in line on the high side, the 9 Budweiser car, Casey Kane, on pit road with the hood up with a bad spark plug. Here he is battling in the top 5.
On the bottom, A.J. Allmendinger, the road race veteran, could not wrest the lead from Michael Waltrip. Didn't have quite enough of a push from Kyle Busch that time.
Maybe he has 9 cylinders.
Maybe they stuck another one in there.
33 of 188 laps complete in the Aaron's 499 at Talladega.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Join Budweiser as we support America's troops with a $250,000 donation to the USO. You can help our efforts when you buy a Casey Kane Armed Forces die-cast car. Visit Budweiser.com for details.
37 laps complete. About that many cars still in the lead draft. The best view in the house, Brian Vickers on point with Jimmy Johnson, and on the outside lane, Dale Earnhardt Jr. with Jeff Burton, and way up high comes David Reagan leading another group.
And I know it doesn't mean a whole lot right now, but Jimmy Johnson is trying ever so hard to lead a lap. He's been looking for somebody that can get him there.
Love to get those 5
Get
points.
those 5 points. It doesn't mean a lot, but you never know.
This is the track where Brian Vickers got that first career win a few years ago as a Hendrick car then.
I believe the guy that's following him is a guy that he nerfed into.
But Darrell, right here with Denny Hamlin, that looks like where you don't want to be, right in the middle of this lead pack.
Just trust me, Mike, when you're in the middle, it's like being in the middle of a thunderstorm. I mean, you just are shaking and cars moving and there's nothing you can do about it.
Now back about 3 seconds behind the lead pack. This is an interesting group right here, led by Kevin Harvick, Greg Biffle, David Stremme, Jamie McMurray, and Juan Montoya, and Clint Boyer.
This group is much better now than it was before that caution, because this group led by Harvick and the 29, they're running 50, 80s, and 90s, and right now our lead pack, they're running mid 50 seconds. So they're okay the way they are right now, but they have to stay nose to tail because that's how you'll run the fastest.
You got to be able to have a little bit of a sniff of the draft off this big pack up here to be able to run fast enough to not get in trouble. And there's a lot of turbulence coming off these race cars.
Kyle Busch would have led that lap, but Junior got a push right there from Vickers. And the 88 goes back out front.
Gotta love what you're seeing out of Junior today, Larry. He has got a fast car. He's up there trying to fight for the lead. He's worked with a lot of different people. He's looking good.
Well, he did finish second in the Daytona 500. He finished second here a year ago. It's a place that he loves, just like his dad loved.
Yep.
Let's get an update on Kyle Busch. Here's Krista.
Mike, you guys have documented that the spotters talk to their drivers so often here, one of those being Jeff Dickerson, the spotter for Kyle Busch. One of the words that Kyle likes to hear, a word you'll hear often from Jeff, is organized, telling him the middle line is organized. No, now it's the bottom line. He's used the word oftentimes already in this race. He'll continue to use it, just telling him to stay where the line is the most, again, organized.
And I used to like the term, you're in the line with the push. You're in the line that's moving, in other words. But organized, maybe they've updated that phrase a little.
Now just a few steps back from Kyle, there's Kurt Busch right in the middle in the blue number 2, leading the middle lane. Matt?
Mike, about 10 laps ago, Kurt came on the radio to his spotter, Chris Osborne, and said, the outside lane is formed up behind Dale Earnhardt Jr., but he couldn't get up. He was stuck in the middle and stalled out. He finally got himself up to the high line. Then Jr. had jumped down to the middle and the line formed behind them, but he's now up to the high line again, just trying to settle in. He got his lap, lead, his bonus points, so right now he's just hunkered down and riding. Steve?
Matt, A.J. Allmendinger in the 43 right now scored in the 8th position, spent some time at the front. In practice on Friday, A.J. said his car was very stable, it was comfortable, and he was also comfortable pushing cars or pulling them, so he likes his race car.
Thanks, Steve. There's the dinger, currently 8th. And we just saw why everybody wants to run with Jeff Burton. What a power move that was by he and Kyle to blast out of the pack.
And look at the lead you get. And just, I mean, they did that coming off turn 2. Not even a whole lap yet, and they're, what, 100 yards ahead of everybody else. But, Mike, a key word between driver and spotter, the word trust. You've got to trust your spotter at Daytona and Talladega. Watch these two guys on the bottom. They dive down. And here we go.
And I mean, just look. I mean, it looks like they have 50 more horsepower than those two cars on the outside.
Well, they got 10 more miles an hour speed. I know that when they're hooked up like that.
The neat thing about that move was they had the suck off the first 2 cars, and Burton had the push off of Kyle Busch, and combined.
Car is fast, man. It's fast.
Oh, yeah, that's Kyle Busch. And that just rocketed them out in front of this field. The question is, for how long? Because now Busch needs to go to the front to cool off his engine from all that pushing.
A couple of laps is all you can stay laid up against somebody like that. You'll melt the engine down.
43 laps complete this time by Kyle Busch. Going to lead this one. Maybe.
Nope.
46 laps complete in Talladega. Nobody's led more than 8 laps, and that nobody would be Dale Earnhardt Jr., who just went to the high side coming through the trial and gave up the lead to Kyle Busch, being pushed by his nemesis, arch enemy for the championship, Jimmy Johnson. But as